We will keep this webinar really short and sweet. There have been some updates to the small business lighting program that happened later in the year. So I'll share those with you, as well as some resources that you can take a look at and we can walk through as well. So I'm going to share my screen if that. Okay, so the small business lighting program has been around for a very long time. We have been participants in the small business lighting program for over a decade, and we've seen many variations of this program. Essentially, what it is updating and offering energy efficient lighting solutions for businesses across Southern Ontario. And it has taken many forms over the past, as I mentioned, several years. So, most recently, the program and what it looks like. Just going to move this bar so we can see all these bullet points here. The incentives are now up to $3,000 for eligible lighting equipment and $2,500 for eligible non-lighting equipment. So this is a little bit of a change because up until November-ish of last year, the cutoff was $2,000 for eligible lighting and $3,000, and it's been now increased to $3,000. So what that means is anybody who has not participated since April 1st, 2019, you're eligible for the full $3,000. So anybody who sorry, I'm going to go back to that. Anybody who participated before April 1st, 2019, you're eligible for the full $3,000. If a business has participated between April 1st, 2019 and today, they're eligible for a $1,000 top up. And the reason for that is the program was $2,000 when they originally signed on, and now there is that $1,000 increase that they are also eligible for. So that's great for a lot of businesses that maybe they weren't able to upgrade all of the lighting that they had maybe wanted to or had in their building. They now have that option for an additional $1,000. The types of businesses that are eligible for this program in Ontario are farms with an OFA number, agricorps, equine. So any kind of farm that has one of those numbers can apply for this program. Any business that has a commercially rated general service hydro account, they're also eligible. And businesses that have less than 50 employees working in the location at one time. So this comes up often in larger businesses that have multiple employees and they're wondering if they're eligible. You can have more than 50 employees working for your company as long as no more than 50 employees work on site at any given time. And this program is indoor lighting only. So past programs, we have seen some outdoor lighting options. Those are not eligible or available during this new program that they have brought out. That doesn't mean that they won't be eventually, but they may, as of right now, they're not available. Is there any questions before I move on around any of this information I just covered?
Why
No.
why does it not cover outdoor anymore? Like, why is that a thing?
So that's it's a loaded question. Essentially, this program is designed by upper government. And I think that they look at the majority of what's available, how likely and how not easy it is to install. But when you start working with outdoor lighting, there's a lot of variables as far as lighting levels that are required for parking lots, and you get into some other code restrictions and issues, as well as like lifts that are required and extension ladders. So there's additional pieces that make it more difficult to retrofit outdoor lighting than it would be for indoor lighting.
That's right. Yeah, it's more bang for your buck. You're more or less, if you have four outdoor lights that are accessible only with a boom, I mean they're wasting more. They're using more money trying to change those four outdoor fixtures than they would be doing a bunch of indoor fixtures that are easily accessible. You're saving more wattage, so they're going to use less money towards equipment and more money towards the person inside, changing the lighting over to LED. So overall, you're going to save more money in the long run. But if you do have a business with a bunch of outdoor lights, you're not going to be able to do it anymore. But there is another program for that, which is the ERI.
Yeah,
So
it's not under this
it's not the same
program.
program though.
So
Okay.
this one is for indoor lighting. And there's lots of, like, generally speaking, businesses have lights in areas that they don't even really think about all of the time. So you can generally get quite a bit of an upgrade with your lighting through this program. Any other questions on this slide before we move forward? No, you're good. Okay. There we go. The most popular lighting is the 4-foot T8s to 4-foot Type B TLEDs. They can be changed to panels as well, but less can be done for free in that instance. One of the great things about this program is um, most people, a lot of businesses just do the free portion. And as I mentioned, we've been working with this program for a very, very long time. It is seamless for businesses. They sign on, they sign their work order. If they stay under the eligible free amount, they pay nothing to the contractor. As a contractor who installs, we invoice directly to the program. So it really is, it's not even you pay us and then you get reimbursed from the government. As long as you stay under that threshold, there's no billing that goes to the businesses. With that said, some businesses do go over and above, in which case a customer contribution portion for that small amount that's over and above the program would be charged to the business. But in no case is that required or necessary. And as mentioned, a lot of businesses do stay under that threshold and they just want the free lighting.
And that's what I tell customers the same thing sometimes too. I say when they come, just tell them you want to do the free amount only. And obviously, sometimes if you have 30 lights and you have 35 that need to be done, you want them to match your other ones, it's still cheaper than calling an electrician randomly and having them come change the last 5 lights. So you might as well go through the program for the last 5 because you want those savings too, right? So it's a lot cheaper just to get the last 5 done through the program as well because there's incentives towards it.
Some other options are metal halides can be changed to LED high bays. We change 8-foot T12s to 8-foot linear. Now we can, or so it's new as of the end of last year. It was one of the changes that went through with the amount upgrade as well, where 8-foot 59-watt T8s were not eligible, and now they are eligible. So there's always changes to the program. So even if you weren't eligible at one point, it's always a good idea to check back in at various points throughout the year to see if anything in the program has changed, because it very well may have. For the screw-in options, we're limited to PAR, BR, MR, and decorative lamps. There's no Type A LED replacements this time. There are non-lighting eligible options as well. So that's the $2,500 that we talked about at the beginning. Those are web-enabled thermostats, night covers, and ECM motors that are available. So when I was speaking with the program coordinator around what is the most most bang for your buck, as Ryan referred to it earlier, she did mention the strip covers for the refrigeration are generally speaking the most, you get the most value out of the program. However, that's not always applicable to everybody's business, obviously, especially if you don't have refrigerators on site. If you do, that's definitely something to look into. There's also, I'm just looking here. There's also web-enabled thermostats. The caveat with that is there needs to be an existing C wire. If there is not an existing C wire, then the eligible business would need to install that wire prior to upgrading the thermostat. So there is a little bit of a requirement there, but the assessors are able to provide you with all of the information. So where that takes us is you have a couple of options if you're interested in the program. You can click on this link, which I'm sure Brock will be sending out after this webinar. This link here takes you to a form that you can fill out and somebody will contact you to provide more information. This is the program website. So if you're looking for more information and you want to dig into some of the things that I've talked about today during this webinar, you're more than welcome to pop onto this website, and there's lots of information in here that you can go through as well. And then finally, if you want to speak to somebody from our team, we would be more than happy to walk you through any questions that you might have, get you in contact with the program coordinator, submit your business. Basically, what we would need is the business name and the address and a contact for the business. We can forward that to Debbie, who is the program coordinator, and she would be able to reach out to you and schedule a time for an assessor to come and take a look. So in essence, that is the very quick, brief overview of the Small Business Lighting Program. And we have about 10 minutes or so left for any questions you might have. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. There's, as mentioned in the video that you couldn't quite hear, and I apologize for that, there are non-lighting eligible options as well. So that's the $2,500 that we talked about at the beginning. Those are web-enabled thermostats, night covers, and ECM motors that are available. So when I was speaking with the program coordinator around what is the most bang for your buck, as Ryan referred to it earlier, she did mention the strip covers for the refrigeration are generally speaking the most, you get the most value out of the program. However, that's not always applicable to everybody's business. Obviously, especially if you don't have refrigerators on site. If you do, that's definitely something to look into. There's also, I'm just looking here. There's also web-enabled thermostats. The caveat with that is there needs to be an existing C wire. If there is not an existing C wire, then the eligible business would need to install that wire prior to upgrading the thermostat. So there is a little bit of a requirement there, but the assessors are able to provide you with all of the information. So where that takes us is you have a couple of options if you're interested in the program. You can click on this link, which I'm sure Brock will be sending out after this webinar. This link here takes you to a form that you can fill out, and somebody will contact you to provide more information. This is the program website. So if you're looking for more information and you want to dig into some of the things that I've talked about today during this webinar, you're more than welcome to pop onto this website, and there's lots of information in here that you can go through as well. And then finally, if you want to speak to somebody from our team, we would be more than happy to walk you through any questions that you might have, get you in contact with the program coordinator, submit your business. Basically, what we would need is the business name and the address and a contact for the business. We can forward that to Debbie, who is the program coordinator, and she would be able to reach out to you and schedule a time for an assessor to come and take a look. So in essence, that is the very quick, brief overview of the Small Business Lighting Program. And we have about 10 minutes or so left for any questions you might have. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Is there any questions about anything I covered? Any additional information that you're hoping to get out of this session? We'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
So this is just to it's to swap out lighting. It's not for any new lighting.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you have really old lighting in certain areas, and some work orders are quite small, so don't let that scare you away. If you're like, oh, I only have a few lights, you're still probably most likely going to be eligible. And they do the work order up, and we go in and we swap out those lights. So it doesn't have to be a work order that uses the full $3,000 that's eligible. It can be just a few lights that you have that you'd like to have upgraded, and then you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, I find the best thing in this too is I've walked in like convenience stores and like older buildings and they have about 30 lights and say they're all T12 and like the fluorescent tubes. Those are almost obsolete now. So you can't get T12 tubes anymore, which are the thicker versions of the fluorescent tubes or the ballasts. So now you've got obsolete lights you'd have to call an electrician in for anyways to change. And we come in, we put the new bulbs in, we actually bypass the ballast. So there's one more factor out of the fixture that's not in play anymore. So a lot of people will be like, okay, my light's out. Well, is it the ballast or the bulbs? Well, I don't know. Well, I'll have to call an electrician because I'm not going to just change the bulbs and it be the ballast. And this way, when we come in and do them, all the bulbs are actually 120 volt now. So we bypass the ballast, put 120 volt to each of the sockets, and screw in LED 120 volt tubes. And that right there is just taking out another part that may fail, which I find is a lot more secure for a customer to have too. And like I said, not to mention, I've walked into, like I said, convenience stores and small places like that before, sold them on the program. They've done it, and I've gone in there, a week later and looked at the lights, and it's just brighter, nicer, whiter. It looks like a new store, right? And then they're like, "Oh, thank you, Ryan." Like St. Andrew's Pharmacy downtown, I just got him to do it again. He Mark there, he did $2,000 and now he wants another. He said, "Oh, I have some more lights that are out here." And I said, "You know what? I'm not going to come fix them. I'm going to apply it for the grant again." And the guy went back in there, the assessor, and wrote down a bunch more lights. So now he's able to do another $1,000 to top himself up. So that's another like plus because he was going to pay me, $80 an hour to come do lights for him and the material, and now he doesn't pay anything to get the rest of his lights done. So it's a win-win. Like I said, we're a local company and there's no catches to it. Um, we're very transparent. So we want to make sure that our local community's trusting us, right? So there's everyone always thought too when it first came out, like 10 years ago when I first started doing it, that there was a catch, right? It's government. They're gonna send me a bill. They're gonna take it off my hydro. They're gonna do something eventually, but that there really isn't. So there's no catches to it, and it's very safe. Not to mention too, one more thing is mercury from the old fluorescent tubes, right? A lot of those are very dangerous, and we recycle them all properly through the program to a company called Avitas that takes it out and does it all properly. They grind the bulbs and take the mercury out of them. When standard people just throw them in the trash, and one bulb could actually like almost mess like two or three bulbs could actually mess up a whole lake. Like that amount of mercury could actually so it's a really unsafe product to have out there. And you can still buy fluorescent tubes, but like I said, just putting these LEDs in, they're plastic. They're a lot better for the environment than the mercury filled bulbs. And like I said, it's free, so it's a free upgrade. And yeah, overall, it's definitely a good program.
Can they be recycled as well? Like, can the plastic be recycled?
Yeah, yeah, those actually just go right in the garbage. Yeah, there's nothing dangerous in them.
No, no, no. But like like you're saying, it goes right in the garbage. Like, can the plastic itself be
Oh
recycled?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The bulbs,
Okay.
you mean actual balls themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they can be taken. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Katie, when somebody's applying for the coverage and they go to the link, is there a way that they can request that you're going to do the business, the work, or what's that process?
So I'm sure there's probably a note. Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes.
No. Am I?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
here. I'm just trying to see here. I'm just popping onto it here, Janet. I'm sure there's probably a notes section.
Or
There's
should
not really a notes
businesses get in
section.
touch with you first and then go? Like,
Yeah, so if you would like us to do the install for you, that would be fabulous. But if you send me the business name, a contact name for the business, phone number, email, and the address, I can send that off to the small business lighting coordinator, and she will schedule her assessors to
okay.
basically come out and do the assessment, and she'll be the
Okay.
point of contact there.
Yeah, great. So people should contact you first.
Yes, that would be great. The link is there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we would love to do the work for especially
Yeah.
everybody locally. We
Yeah.
also just want to share the information about the program because we think that it's a really fabulous program.
Yeah.
So there is a link if
Great.
people would rather go that way. I'm more than happy to do the connections as well. And that would be fabulous. Thank you, Janet.
Super. Yeah.
Any other questions, Brock or Jane?
No, all good. Thank you for the presentation. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, and for wattage too, like a standard T12 bulb is around 40 watts. And then the new ones we're putting in are around 14. So you can see the savings right there per bulb, and then each fixture has 4 bulbs. So you're saving, quite a bit of money in wattage there. And the long livability of the actual bulbs too, they have 25,000 hours, 15 to 25,000 hours of time compared to 12,000 hours, which a standard T8 normal fluorescent has. So they actually last longer, better for the environment, saving you power, free. There's a lot of pros to the job. Keep local companies busy. That's yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you very much. We will, once Janet very kindly sends me the recording, we will splice it all together and send it out in emails.